Marcus, if you had a premonition that a plane was about to crash and you got off just in time, would you feel lucky or terrified?
Lucky at first. Terrified about 5 minutes later when I realized I cheated death.
Welcome back to What If It's Real, where we tackle movie scenarios that feel a little too possible. I'm Riley.
And I'm Marcus. Today, we're asking, what if you cheated death, like in Final Destination, and now death is coming back for you with increasingly elaborate plans?
For anyone unfamiliar with the franchise, someone has a premonition of a disaster. A plane crash, a highway pileup, a roller coaster malfunction. They freak out, get themselves and a few others off the doomed vehicle or out of the dangerous situation, and then the disaster happens exactly as they foresaw.
They've cheated death. They were supposed to die, but they didn't. And death doesn't like that.
So death comes back for them, one by one, in the order they would have died in the original disaster.
Right, in order.
And the deaths are elaborate Rube Goldberg-style accidents that seem impossible to predict or prevent.
Water on the floor leads to an electrical malfunction, leads to a falling object, leads to a death that looks accidental, but was clearly designed.
So let's set the scene. You're at an airport, you're about to board a plane, and suddenly you have a vivid, terrifying vision of the plane exploding mid-flight.
You panic, you cause a scene, you get yourself and a few other passengers kicked off the plane.
The plane takes off without you. And then, exactly as you saw in your vision, it explodes. Everyone on board dies.
You just saved your own life and the lives of several others. You're a hero. You're traumatized, but you're alive.
And then, a few days later, one of the people you saved dies in a freak accident.
They slip in the bathroom, hit their head, drown in the bathtub. A tragic accident. But you remember, they were sitting in seat 12A. They would have been one of the first to die in the crash.
And you realize death is correcting the mistake.
This is our first revelation. In the Final Destination universe, death has a design, a plan, a specific order in which people are meant to die.
A design, right.
And if you disrupt that plan, death will restore the balance.
So what do? You've saved yourself and 5 other people. One is already dead. That means you and 4 others are still on death's list.
First, you warn the others. You find everyone who got off that plane and you tell them what's happening.
But will they believe you? You sound insane. Death is hunting us in order because we cheated fate.
Some will think you're crazy. Some will think it's coincidence. But at least one person will listen, and that's who you team up with.
So you and your one ally are trying to figure out the order. Who's next?
You go back to the original vision. You try to remember who was sitting where. What was the sequence of events? Who would have died first, second, third?
But your memory is hazy. You were panicking. You didn't note every detail.
So you do your best. You make a list and you start warning people based on that list.
Person number 2 on the list, let's call her Sarah, doesn't believe you. She thinks you're having a breakdown. She tells you to leave her alone.
And then, 2 days later, Sarah dies. She's at the gym. A weight machine malfunctions, a cable snaps, a weight falls, she's crushed.
Another accident, but you know better.
Now the survivors are starting to believe you. 3 people left, including you, and everyone's terrified.
So what's the strategy? How do you survive?
In the movies, the characters try everything. They try to skip their turn by saving the next person. They try to avoid all dangerous situations. They try to stay together for safety.
And none of it works. Death is creative. Death is patient. Death finds a way.
But there are moments in the franchise where people do survive, when someone else dies in their place, or when they successfully disrupt the design.
So there are loopholes. The question is, can you find them?
This is our second revelation. Death's design can be disrupted, but only if you understand the rules. And the rules aren't clearly explained.
So you're figuring it out as you go. What have the movies taught us?
Rule 1. Death works in order. If you are supposed to be third to die, you won't die until person 2 is dead.
So theoretically, if you keep person 2 alive, you're safe.
In theory, but death will engineer situations to kill person 2. So you'd have to protect them 24/7.
That's exhausting and probably impossible.
Rule 2. Death uses the environment. It doesn't appear as a figure or entity. It manipulates objects, weather, timing. Everything becomes a weapon.
So you can't just avoid one dangerous thing. Everything is potentially dangerous. Water, electricity, cars, ladders, anything.
Rule 3. The deaths are often foreshadowed. There's signs, omens, clues that something is about to happen.
Like in the movies, you'll see the number of your seat repeated everywhere, or you'll hear a song that was playing during the premonition. The universe is giving you hints.
So, if you're paying attention, you might be able to predict when and how death is coming.
But that's a big if. You have to be hyper-aware at all times. You have to notice every detail.
Which brings us to Rule 4. Paranoia might actually save you.
If you're suspicious of everything, if you're checking every wire, avoiding every ladder, questioning every coincidence, you might spot the danger before it kills you.
But that level of vigilance is mentally exhausting. How long can you sustain it?
Not forever, which is why most people in Final Destination die. They let their guard down, they think they're safe, and that's when death strikes.
This is our third revelation. Survival requires constant vigilance. The moment you relax, you're vulnerable.
So what are the actual tactics? Let's say you're person 3 on the list. Person 2 just died. You're next. What do?
You stay in the most controlled environment possible. Ideally, a room with nothing that can malfunction. Electronics, no sharp objects, no heavy furniture.
Like an empty room, just you and 4 walls.
Exactly. And even then, you're not completely safe. The ceiling could collapse, the floor could give way, but you've minimized the variable.
How long do you stay there? Hours? Days?
Until someone else on the list dies. If you're number 3 and someone who is supposed to be number 5 dies first, you've disrupted the order.
So the plan is hide and hope someone else dies?
It's dark, but yes, if someone else's death resets the sequence, you might be safe, or at least you buy time.
What about the new life theory? In one of the movies, someone survives by having another person die in their place. They argue that this gives them a fresh start, a new life outside death's design.
That's the most hopeful interpretation. If someone sacrifices themselves for you, or if someone accidentally dies in your place, you're removed from the list.
But can you really bank on that? Can you ask someone to die for you?
Ethically, no. But if someone happens to die in the moment you were supposed to die, it might reset them.
That's such a gamble. You're literally hoping for a coincidence that saves you.
This is our fourth revelation. There's no guaranteed survival strategy and Final Destination. You're fighting against an abstract force that controls reality itself.
So what's the mindset you need to survive?
You have to accept that you can't control everything. You do what you can, avoid obvious dangers, stay alert, watch for signs, but you also accept that survival might come down to luck.
That's the most unsatisfying answer.
But it's the truth. Death's design is bigger than any one person's ability to strategize against it.
Okay, let's do the recap. The official Final Destination survival guide.
Step 1. If you have a premonition of disaster, trust it. Get yourself and others to safety, even if you look crazy.
Step 2. After the disaster, figure out the order. Who was supposed to die when? Make a list.
Step 3. Warn everyone who survived with you. Even if they don't believe you, you've done your part.
Step 4. Pay attention to omens and signs, repeated numbers, familiar songs, strange coincidences, their death's foreshadowing.
Step 5. Avoid all unnecessary risks. No driving if you can help it, no complex machinery, no situations with multiple hazards.
Step 6. Stay hyper-aware. Paranoia is your friend. Check everything twice. Trust nothing.
Step 7. If possible, disrupt the order. Save someone who's supposed to die before you, or find a way for someone else to die in your place.
And Step 8. Accept that you might not survive. Death is patient, creative, and relentless. Do your best, but understand the odds are against you.
The key takeaway? Final Destination is about the inevitability of death. You can delay it. You might even disrupt it temporarily. But in the end, death's design will be fulfilled.
It's a reminder that we're not in control. We like to think we are, but forces beyond our understanding shape our lives. Next episode, we're diving into Teke Teke.
Japan's most terrifying urban legend, a ghost with no legs dragging herself towards you with her bare hands.
If you don't already know the story, I envy you, because once you hear it, you'll never feel safe near a train platform again.
We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there.
And maybe don't walk alone at night, just in case.